Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Marshall TSL 100. If you watch part 1, you would have found that very interesting. One or two people left some very interesting comments as well, and quite funny ones. One in particular suggesting that they're on the understanding, of course, that I will be doing a full schematic of this amp, tracing it out, which really made me laugh. Yeah, we had some interesting comments. These things are relays that I thought they were. Somebody confirmed it. They're 12 volts, 12 volt relays. Somebody actually, another interesting comment, said that they've obviously put these in for for all the channel switching and whatever else that was on there. God knows what else. Who knows what was going through the guy's mind. This was done about 3 years ago, so I've just gleaned a bit more information on this. So it was done about 3 years ago with the intentions of having a Fender Deluxe Reverb, a Marshall Flexi, a Mesa Boogie and so on, all in one amplifier. So the reason I've done this part 2 is I thought that we would strip this out, prepare this chassis for what we're eventually going to build into it, and just have a look at some of the parts and see if we can even make out any part of this circuit, how I was going about it. Someone also left a comment saying that they don't think this amplifier has ever been run up, and I'm entitled to agree with that comment. I didn't think this had been fired up either. So I thought we'd just take a look at this and just see what parts we'll be able to use and salvage and so on. Not even just for this project, but just parts that are in here that we could possibly salvage. And let's face it, there's a lot of them. So we're going to remove certain things. We're going to remove that we won't use is this PC board here. This has to go, and we'll just put a normal IEC in there. This switch we will be using these Marshall switches, both of those. So we're going to remove the wires from here on there. Look at this ground. I didn't spot that. Surely that's not how they've grounded that. I can't believe that's how Marshall have grounded that, surely. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we'll remove it. And there are all the wires for the switch. Now these are the wires for the transformer, and I need those because I need to test these transformers, which we'll do when we've got all this stuff out of here. That's obviously the filaments. I'm just going to cut that because we'll recognise that wire. We can't forget it, can we, looking at all of this? So what have we got coming out of there? So sorry, that's not the HT. That is the primary in. This obviously is the standby switch here, I would have thought. But then we've got, where's they're the diodes. So we've got a couple of capacitors over those diodes. Let's just drop the camera in there so you can see. There. So that must be, these are the AC then, because they're going into the diodes. So, yeah, so they're AC. Because it saves a bit of time if we know what all these wires do. So that's AC. And then this is the DC feed here. Coming out of the diodes, going to the switch. And then this wire here is going to that main electrolytic, like so. Now these Rubicon caps, I actually spoke to Lee at the shop. It was quite up on hi-fi and stuff, and he says that these are good capacitors and hi-fi grade, so we may keep these Rubicons after all. No one's left anything in the comments about them, so most people who watch my channel are into guitar amps, so that's probably why. probably a hi-fi buff would spot those straight away, so we'll just remove some of those. Now this board is only wired at one side, also looks like it's been damaged a little there. I'm not even going to check what this is doing, we'll just cut it off. I have no idea what this is doing. How's that fastened onto there with those capacitors? There, let me just move the camera so I can get the pliers in. So we're looking at these here. Yeah, the leads are too short on them. 3 of those relays, look, all put in there. Couple of tag strips. Some silver micas. Gooden, who comments a lot on the channel, claims that these aren't very good. So I'm going to have to go with his word on that, because he's far more experienced than I'll ever be. And but they may be useful on tone stacks or something like that. The tag strips might be useful. There we go, that's removed that. Now the one thing I didn't look at in this amplifier was the pots, the potentiometers. We never actually looked at them. So there's quite a lot of them, and they are the miniature pots, and I suppose they'd have to be the miniature pots, because I'm guessing if we look at these here, I'm guessing that now I've just suddenly had an awful thought that these have been glued on, because that one hasn't. Let's try. Oh no. So it's these that don't come off. Not that I've got the strongest hands anymore, because I've got osteoarthritis in my thumb and both thumbs now. No, so I'm just hoping that some of those have not been glued on, and look there, that's glue. Oh no, I'm sure that's glue. Let's just see if it is. If that's glue, we're in real trouble with these. Yeah, it's glue. Oh no, so someone has glued on the pot, the knobs to the pots. My days. Well, that's going to cause all sorts of problems, and even if any of these pots could be used, most of them can't be now, can they? Because we'll have to break those. Now I spoke to Lee this morning in the shop, and he suggested that we get a new faceplate for this. We can find one long enough, because these amps are quite long. Make another Marshall faceplate or something like that. Not sure what we're going to wire into this, but I'm thinking a Soldano, high gain Soldano. If I can find a schematic, I thought that would be something a bit different. That's one option. It's got to be something high gain and Marshall to go in this, really. Just because of how, even if we change the faceplate, one of the reasons why I changed the faceplate is because, well, there's more knobs on this than there is in a midnight bus shelter. Right, so let's get these off. We'll also have a box to save all these nuts and bolts, because they'll be useful. Well, the nuts, well, not sure about the bolts. They're all a bit long. There. Now there's not actually any nuts on the other one. So let's just one box there. So let's cut this board out, then we can have a look at the handiwork of it. And also we look underneath and you can see how many electrolytics are in this amp. Look at these 4 there, 3 there, and 4 more there. So what's that? 8, 11. That's 11 electrolytics. What on earth? Even surely if you were making 3 different amps, you're really only talking 1 power section, and obviously multi preamp sections if you were going to do that, even if it was possible. But there's 3 power supplies there. At least we've not actually got underneath the other boards yet. So 3 power supplies. So you can see these boards are good, you know, really good thick quality boards. But you can see that maybe there's a little bit of damage on those turrets. You see that turret there is slightly almost pulled through. So dear oh dear, has that been cut or has that been bitten? Because that is not straight at all. It's probably hard to tell on the camera, but I don't know if we can get it. But yeah, you can see you can see now, dear oh dear. If I align that, and I'm actually aligning that up with the side of the viewing frame on this camera. Yeah, see, yeah, my attempting at cutting things is not great, but even I can get it closer than that. So these capacitors that we've got on here, now that one, if we look at the bottom, if we just get that in close, can you see all the outer casing of the capacitors flexing? So I think we can say that those are no good. None of, maybe that one is usable. No, it's not, because they've glued those and all, and that's the same glue that they've used on the pots. So the only thing we're going to salvage after that maybe is the turret board, and I certainly won't be putting those in here. They might do for just a prototype project or something, if I want to build something and test it. And I do from time to time, like the television amp we built as a prototype. We're actually going to start building the proper version of that very soon. And in fact, I've already started that, so that should be interesting. We're building that into the Blackstar HD20 chassis and case. And if you remember, I don't know if anybody's watched it on the channel, but it's on the channel. We did a Blackstar, the HD20, we did a video on it, and we tested all the transformers and everything to see what voltages we would have, you know, when we build the amp itself, or roughly what voltages and what load resistance we'd have on the output transformer and so on. Well, I'm getting plenty of nuts out of this job. I'm not getting any sockets on those, am I? We just zoom in on those. There'll be no sockets going on that. So we need to find it. Mind you, I think if we can find the pliers, I might just use those on there. I wouldn't normally, but considering what's going on here. So 3 power supplies in this amp, maybe even 4 if we get this board off. Let's see. Well, these are different sized nuts. No surprise there. Let's try 7 mil. 7 mil. Is that right? Yeah. Is that 7 mil? Oh no, it's not. It's 7/30 seconds. So they're all imperial nuts on this as well. So let's see if there's another power supply under here. Let's have a look. So we'll cut these out. There, and there. And there. Not even going to look where the wires. I've declined on the schematic, by the way, for everyone that thought about me doing a schematic. I've declined based on the fact that I haven't got 20 years to spend on doing it. Right, so this board here looks like it's something to do with the bias. And again, there's probably a couple of capacitors there we could use. So bearing in mind how much voltage we have on these Marshalls, these are the diodes on the power supply, but on the bias we've got that great beast. My days. This amp, again on information that I gleaned today, has also been seen by another tech who went, ha, not doing anything with that, basically. Well, basically what he said, it would cost more money than it's worth to do it. But I suppose that's a polite way of saying, ha, I'm not touching that, because that's exactly what I would have said if someone had brought this to me. We're just stripping it out, so it doesn't matter. He's damaged all these boards, look, on the around the screw holes. The boards, he's damaged them, so we certainly won't be putting those in anything more than something that's a prototype. There we go. Yeah. And they look like they've been cut with a drunk and a chainsaw. So, not great. Right, let's move on further along to this part. So we've got, I'm intrigued to see what's underneath these boards as we keep taking them out. Really hate to see these turrets soldered badly, you know, because you can really make these turrets look nice if you do them neatly and put crowns on them. I didn't know whether to film this or not, but I thought it would just be a bit of fun just to see what is under these boards and get some idea of how this thing has been put together. Although, to be fair, it's still a bit of a mystery even taking it apart. Somebody I have to comment saying a rat's nest, one or two, and yeah, I think you're not far wrong actually. In fact, we may even find something nesting in the bottom of here. Ground bus on there. Got that out. Some wires here. There we go. And basically that looks about the same as that. It's like a repeat of it. So I'm not sure what's going on there either. If we look at that, they're duplicated. Virtually, they are duplicated. So really not sure what they were trying to achieve there either. So there's one more, we'll leave that for a minute. There's one more that we need to take off and uncover, see what's under here. What I find difficult to understand with this is that even if it were possible to build something like this, and I suppose theoretically it is, there's just little point in it, but how the extensive knowledge that you would need to build it, and you kind of look at this and think, well, he must, I don't know how he was, this is the thing, you can't even understand how somebody with such little skill has tried to build something that is so difficult and got this far with it. You know, irrespective to making a mess of it or whatever, it just amazes you, you know, how far it's actually got with it. The time that must have gone into this, you know, trying to build this is unbelievable. These boards are junk as well. These cheap, rubbishy PC board. This I don't know what this has been cut from. Oh dear. They must have forced these on here instead of just widening the holes out a little more. Just forced them on. So you can see under there that looks very similar. It's not the same layout, but so that's what we've got. Is that the same? No, it's not even the same as those two. So don't know what's going on there. That's junk. And we've just got these masses of wire. I mean, look at this lot here going into these relays. Right, so we've got this board off. This must have been using this to run the LEDs or something. I've had to take that shroud off from around the transformers to remove it. And it's junk. So I've just removed this mass of wire that's going to the output transformer. I'm just looking at some of this cable. It's not wonderful. So I don't think we'll be using any of that. We also, because they've messed these wires up, we're going to have to do a turns ratio test on this transformer to find out which is how many tap-ins has it got? 4 ohms and 8 ohms. So it's only got 2 tap-ins according to the back plate. This tube socket must have been drilled out surely, because all the tube sockets I'm sure are mounted on the board on these TSLs on the original board, so it looks like that's been put out. Could be wrong, but I was under the impression that all the tubes were on the main PC board there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more boards to get out now. So look at this. Oh, these relays. Just look at that. What is that? Dearie me. It'll take me a week to cut that out. 3 capacitors on there. Sorry, there's 3 capacitors on there we can use. Let's say with this 1 or 2 resistors, but they're just so cheap. Sometimes it's not even worth bothering. You'd only take one off of there if you were desperate and you'd not got one in stock. Turret board's been bent there. On that, sorry, the turret's been bent on the board there. And again, if you look on the bottoms of these, some of them have been stressed. And dear, oh dear, oh dear. Never mind. We get in there, we can see daylight now in here, can't we? Look at all the relays. I've just got, and there's loads of them. I'm still finding them, still fetching them out. And that's only on, and then there's a load on this board here, so that's even more relays. What were they switching in here? Yes, it's something that, you know, I've watched a lot of videos and over the years on YouTube about, you know, with doing amp work, and one of the things a lot of techs have said that they've actually given up trying to work out what someone was actually trying to do when you see some of the way some of these have been done. And you know, after a while you just have to kind of give up, because you just can't believe what's gone on here. I think all of these are tight, and all the nuts, the bolts are tight in the holes, and I think these bolts are imperial, and I think they've been using metric drill bits, because it's very difficult to get some of these bolts out of the holes. So if we look at these, they look a bit cheap tack. They're like open, look. I bet some of you are getting really bored now, aren't you? Fun's going out of it now because we've nearly got everything out, and it's not really, it's not, when you first start it and you keep lifting the boards up, you're wondering what's underneath them, but we've kind of gone past that stage now because we can see everything that's in here. And there's probably still, you know, enough stuff in here, certainly to build 1 amp. So that one's out. So now you can see, camera's still zoomed in, sorry, but now you can see just what they've done to that. You know, why. And it looks like they got it wrong the first time, got it wrong the second time, and then widened the hole out. Again, we've got some capacitors there we can use. There is some resistors on there. But metal oxides, some people use them for plate resistors and things. I don't personally. But, and then we've got metal film there. So 4 boards in here, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 boards. I've got one of these sockets out, and these are just junk. You know, they feel awful when you plug the jack socket into them. The best parts on these are the fibre washers, the chrome insert, and the outer washer that mounts on the front. But on further inspection of these, if we look, getting close there, let me just zoom in. If I'm not mistaken, that says nitrix on there. They can't be nitrix sockets, surely. Is that what that says? It does, doesn't it? Right, that's another board out, and you can see a bit of piece out of that, and you can see what it's done with the drill there. It's just, there's a couple of capacitors on there we could use, that maybe, and these 3 they're 22 nanofarad as well. Yeah, there's something else that's just dawned on me with these boards, and I bet everybody's spotted it. I'm that busy trying to take it to bits. They're touching the chassis virtually. All they've got is a nut, one of these nuts here, as a spacer, virtually touching the chassis. I mean, this power supply one, that is virtually touching. That is unbelievable. And just imagine just one drip of soda down these turrets. A real disaster there. That is shocking. There's another one. That one's also wrecked. Again, couple of 3 capacitors on there. Maybe we can use some resistors on there. 100k, a couple of 2-watt 100ks. Those two are done for. So there's the last of the power supply boards. That's a 447 microfarad at 450. The Rubicon's there, but the board's destroyed and they're just junk. We can't use those really for anything. Not anything more than just, you know, using them for test purposes. So there we go. As I suspected, they've all been glued, definitely. What a nightmare. There's no point us even going any further. I'm not going to film getting all those off because we've already established what they've done to it. Glued the pots on. The worst thing you can do. The biggest no-no. So that'll do it for this one, I think. As you can see, we've got the pile of junk at the back there. And we apart from a few capacitors and the odd resistor, we've really not got nothing out of it. So thanks for watching, and you all take good care, and I'll see you all in another video.